Dallas Cowboys Game Night is presented by AT&T. More for your thing, that's our thing. Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Miller Lite, the only beer of the Cowboys. And by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full access to coaches' film and game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl. Subscribe at DallasCowboys.com/Game Pass.
In a game that seemed like it was going to be a blowout, the Cowboys brought it within 10 at the end. Was not enough for Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, who put up 34 points at AT&T Stadium this afternoon, pushing the Cowboys to 3-2 on the season. Welcome into Cowboys Game Night. I'm Lindsay Draper, joined by Nate Newton. As always, you're going to make us feel better, right?
Oh, yeah, definitely, man. We just got to start out faster, not have any turnovers. Make sure that we have smart penalties and do what's right in the game. And some way, somehow, they got to start faster. I believe that with all my heart. I'd love to get to the bottom of that by the end of the show. We're going to hear from head coach Jason Garrett in just a moment, along with Dak Prescott and some other players. But, Nate, just the way that seemed like this was a blowout, and then all of a sudden they got back, but there were so many missed opportunities, so many penalties, 3 interceptions from Dak Prescott. It's like if you would have taken those away, it would have been a completely different game. And, they were 4 or 5 in the red zone. I'm talking about the
Aaron Rodgers and the
Green Bay Packers. They were 4 or 5 in it, and they dominated us. They were more physical. Their offensive line, which is not known for their physicality, out-physical our defensive line in the red zone. We made Aaron Jones look like a superstar, like he's on his way to Hawaii. And he caught 7 passes for 75 yards. He had a great day. So we thought it was Aaron Rodgers, but it was Aaron Jones.
Man, 2 Aarons. All right, let's go to head coach Jason Garrett for his reactions from tonight's loss.
Cowboys.
Jason obviously tough first half. Couldn't really get anything going. What exactly happened in the first half?
Yeah, the biggest issue on offense in the first half were just the turnovers. I thought we ran the ball well. We were right down the field on them. Makeable throw and catch to Amari on the first one, comes out and they intercept it, and then we're driving again, and Dak makes the decision, probably forced the ball a little bit, probably should have checked the ball down. So I thought the mix of run and pass was really good, and we were moving the ball down the field, but the 2 turnovers really hurt us.
They gassed you in the running game some, especially. Did that kind of keep you on your heels defensively?
Yeah, that was the biggest issue on defense, is they were able to run the ball. They ran the ball inside on us when they got down in the red zone a couple of times, which is really uncharacteristic of our defense. That's the thing we do as well as anything. So, to the gap discipline and just physically getting off of blocks and making plays across the board wasn't consistent enough, particularly early on in the game. I thought it got better as the game went on, but they ran the ball too easily against us.
Did they do anything you weren't expecting from film?
Not really.
What happened on the replay challenge where you were flagged for unsportsmanlike conduct?
Yeah, obviously on that play, we had a great view of it, and they called it an incompletion. So it was such a big play in the game. You have to use your flag there. We had already challenged a potential pass interference earlier. So in that situation, you're going to have to use the flag to get the call correct, or you're not going to have that for later in the game. So obviously I didn't handle that situation as well as I should have. I knew we were going to get the play because I saw it, and unfortunately we had to use the flag there. And he made that decision to throw a flag on me.
Jason, 2 first-place teams, 2 losses. What does this say about your club and where they are right now?
Yeah, not really in the business of that. Just really in the business of getting back to work and trying to get better. Our goal every week is to get better each and every day in practice and get better from week to week. And we'll continue to strive to do that. 2 challenging games. Didn't get it done in either of them the last couple of weeks. We'll learn from the experience and hopefully grow, get stronger, and get better as we go.
Do you feel some of your frustration
from the side judge as to why he threw that flag on you? Did you get an explanation from the side judge as to why he threw that flag?
Yeah, that was the play where we had the big completion, and we had to correct it by me throwing a flag, and then he didn't like how I threw the flag.
Do you agree that your emotion there merited an unsportsmanlike?
That's not my decision.
Did you think it was the spiking of the flag or something you said?
I really don't know.
You didn't say.
Did you feel there was...
Jason Garrett not up for discussion on it. We are going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we'll hear from QB1, Dak Prescott, and more on tonight's loss.
This segment is brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Play the Dallas Cowboys scratch ticket today. It's your ticket for a chance to win big.
Dak Prescott, a guy that you think can bounce back from 2 back-to-back weeks like this, Nate?
Oh, yeah, he's stable. I mean, he coming through the SEC, playing in the teams they play, playing the big games that he played for Dallas, he's stable. He's going to look at that film, he's going to digest it, he's going to listen to what his coaches have to say and digest it, and he'll come out and he'll be ready for the Jets.
All right, let's hear more from QB1, Dak Prescott.
Dak, talk about how the game started and falling to that big of a deficit early.
Yeah, that's when you do that, you put yourself in a hole and you put yourself in a position that no matter how hard you fight, no matter how good things you do in the back end, it's hard to come out of that against a good team like they are. And we start off that first drive moving, have that turnover, and then after that, a couple of more. And as you just said, you put yourself back like that. It's a good team we're playing. It's hard to come all the way back from that and get on top.
What did you see in the fourth quarter, which you guys are making a comeback at 31-17, and you had that one there?
I mean, I think I saw what everyone saw. Seeing a guy very handsy, mugged, throwing it, pretty sure it's going to get a call or something comes out of that, and it doesn't, move on.
Amari was asked about his career-high receiving yardage, and first thing that he said was the drop early that resulted in interception and ultimately a touchdown. You had a career-high day as well. For you, what stands out?
Follow Amari right there. I had three interceptions. I don't care how many yards I had or anything else like that. 3 interceptions on a loss. I don't care what career high I have. None of that matters. And Amari's saying that, I think, is an example of a lot of guys in our locker room, a lot of guys in our team who look in the mirror before they point fingers. And as long as we have those type of guys on our team, we're going to be fine. We're going to keep getting better. We're going to be able to take things like this, take them on the chin, learn from them, and get better because of it, simply because of that attitude.
5 weeks after the season, where do you think you guys stand as a team?
Yeah, I mean, a team that's got to get better and got to start fast on offense. Got to play better complementary football than we have these last two weeks. And but there's a lot of football to be played. Definitely a lot of football to be played. A lot of plays to be made, and we're not shy of making them. We're not backing down. As I said, we'll take this one on the chin. We're gonna take the good, take the bad. We're gonna learn from it, and hopefully we'll look back at this and say this was a turning point, or this was good for us.
As the quarterback and the leader, after Amari has that kind of drop, what do you say to him? Or
I mean, I could have put the ball two more inches in front of him, or whatever it is. That's a great player. I mean, sure, he had that drop, but you go back and you look at the rest of the game, the plays he's making, the catches he's making, catches that double move and makes 2 guys miss on the sideline. You tell him let it go, so he can come back and do exactly what he just did. And we have those type of players that we're not going to sit there and hound on one mistake, because we know that they're very prideful in that, and they're going to look in the mirror and blame themselves first before they say, hey, Dak threw that a little bit behind me. Yeah, simply that right there. Tap him on the back and say, hey, let's go. You'll put it behind you, as he did.
I love that he said, hopefully this will be a turning point for this team. Nate and I will take a quick break here. When we come back, Brad Sham and Babe Laufenberg bring us our first player interview from the defensive line to find out what went wrong, allowing 4 touchdowns on the ground at AT&T Stadium. That's next.
This segment was brought to you by the Texas Lottery. Play the Dallas Cowboys scratch ticket today. It's your ticket for a chance to win big. This segment is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
As we continue discussing the Cowboys' loss tonight, Nate and Newton, I got to ask you about this Cowboys run defense. It seems just in the preseason, a couple of weeks, months ago, that we were just bragging so much on this defense and the pass rush and what they could bring. And then against this guy tonight, it was just completely unexpected.
The run game was not very well for our defense. It's all about who can push who off the line of scrimmage, who can get their hands inside and finish. And they were 4 or 5 on the goal line and in the red zone. So, you know, they got their hands inside, they got the leverage, and they pushed our guys mainly off the ball when it counted the most. And you either can hold them to 3 or they'll get 6. And each time, 4 out of the 5 times, they got 6.
Let's send it out to Brad Sham and Babe Laufenberg, who are standing by with Christian Covington. Guys.
Lindsay, thanks very much. It was an interesting evening for everybody in a Cowboys uniform. Defensive tackle Christian Covington, one of those trying to chase Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Jones down all night. So that can't have been easy. And I'd like to have you talk about the run game. First of all, you guys have been really good against the run. He had a phenomenal night, number 33. What did they do so well?
They were just able to. They're really able to just spread the ball and bounce it back a lot of times throughout this game. You know, you got to give credit where credit's due. You know, Jones had a great game. Aaron Rodgers did his thing as well. We just got to really just look at this tape, fix what we have to do, make sure that we're gap sound, assignment sound with these calls, especially whenever we know we're playing at home when it's going to be loud. We know a lot of factors come into play. But with that being said, we just got to look at this tape and see what we did wrong. You know, we got to be at the end of the day. We didn't come through with our standards.
I know as a player you never look up at the clock and say, well, we're done, this is over, we won't. But, I mean, as a fan or a broadcaster, it's 31-3 with 3 minutes to go in the third quarter, and all of a sudden this thing became a game and the crowd got into it and it's 10 points and you get a stop. And so when did you feel like, man, we're getting back in this thing?
We felt like we were in it the entire time. You know, we trust this defense, we trust the offense that we have, we trust our special teams. You know, we're never, especially when you have 4 leading the way, like we feel like we're never far behind, with no matter what the lead is, no matter what the deficit is. You know, obviously, whenever we were able to get those scores, you know, that was huge momentum for us, and we were able to do it over and over again. You know, unfortunately, the game didn't turn out the way we wanted to, but you know, this is just a learning experience that we're going to have to take from the film and just move forward.
And you talk about film. Excuse me. I know you go back. You usually typically look at 4 games, which was all that was on film right now because they'd only played 4. But the last 2 games, they really struggled running the football. So what changed from those 2 games into what happened tonight with them rushing?
They were just doing their thing, obviously.
Anything unexpected, I guess, from the running game in terms of how, like you said, they appeared to get flow one way, and then Aaron Jones would.
Yeah, no, they we weren't up to our standards. We weren't in the gaps. A lot of MEs throughout the defense.
Mental errors,
yes. And we just got to be able to, you know, we just have to be able to bounce back from this. You know, this is on us. We lost the game. We lost to our standards. So at the end of the day, that's what we look at.
I always wonder if when something like that happens, that seems to be out of character. There's enough of a body of work that's not how you. Do you stand out there and say, "But what's going on? Who are we? What's happening out there?"
You have those questions, absolutely. But at the end of the day, coaches reiterate that, you know, we know who we are, we know what our standards are, we know that this is obviously that first half definitely wasn't us as a defense, and you know, we were able to get the ball going with, you know, coinciding with our offense as well that second half. Obviously, it just wasn't enough this game though.
The good news is you get to get right back to work and get the taste out of your mouth. Christian, we appreciate it very much. Thanks for the time. Lindsay, back to you.
Thank you, Brad. We will catch up with you again right after this break here from Cowboys Game Night. Don't go anywhere. More interviews from AT&T Stadium to come.
This segment was brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
We're back here on Cowboys Game Night. I have the privilege of watching these games with Nate here at the Star, and I think we were both, Nate, blown away by just the linebacker duo that we talk about so much in Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch, and tonight they were both just off a step.
They're in their best when they're coming downhill. When our defensive line is blowing up guys back and they're coming downhill, especially Jalen, when he's coming down, generating that force and that speed. Now Leighton is a different guy. He's good out in open space. I was shocked that he got shook a couple of times. I was more shocked that Jalen got kind of trucked a couple of times. But these guys are great players, and they just got to reset their mind and rededicate themselves to being perfectionists.
All right, let's talk to the third part of the linebacker group, Joe Thomas, who is with Brad Sham and Babe Laufenberg.
Lindsay, there were a couple of Cowboys in particular who would dearly have loved for that comeback to bear full fruit, and that's because Randall Cobb and Joe Thomas both used to play for the Packers, and Joe has become such an important part of the Cowboys' rotation. I could tell, especially when you guys were starting to ratchet things down a little bit there in the second half. There looked like there was an extra little bounce in your step, like it really mattered to you to get the thing turned around. Am I right about that?
Oh yeah, no doubt, man.
I mean, it really doesn't matter who the opponent was. I mean, I just wanted to go out there and help my team win. So I tried to give everything I could at that moment in the game when I was in there and take advantage of my opportunity to help the team win.
So this was an uncharacteristic game for your defense.
Yeah.
How surprised are you during the game to look up and say, what in the heck is going on out there?
I mean, I was surprised, man. We started flat. They was able to run the ball on us tonight, which we're tremendous against the run. We have probably, I think, the best run defense in the league, and we didn't step up today, and that's the main reason why we lost today.
And as Christian Covington, so I'll ask you the same thing. Is there anything they did in their run game that changed today? They had not run the ball well the last couple of weeks, but obviously they ran it well today. Did they change up anything to attack your defense?
I mean, I didn't see anything that we didn't see during the week.
Okay.
We wasn't gap disciplined, and they was able to crease us out there in the D gap and get on our edges, and they got around the corner a couple times, and I mean, they have a great runner too. I think he's underrated, but we could have kept him contained for sure.
You'll know more about this when you look at the tape, but the only time anything like that has happened is really on that last possession that the Saints had, where you couldn't get the ball back, you couldn't get them off. Was there any carryover from that to this?
Any carryover from the last game to this game?
From that last possession, particularly for the Saints.
Nah, man, we just got to do a better job of getting the ball back when it's time to get it back to our offense. We let them drain the clock a little more than we wanted to, and you know, they was able to pull it out, man. It's just, you know, we just got to do better in the run defense.
And as Brad said, you're in Green Bay. When number 12 is on your team, you say, wow, that's awesome. Look at that. Wow, look at that. That's a great play.
Yeah.
When he's on the other team, how frustrating does it get defensively when you think you got him and all of a sudden out he slips and either gets rid of the ball or gets completion?
I mean, it's very frustrating, man. I mean, I was up there with him, so, you know, they coach him getting outside the pockets. They coach all that up, and we coached it all throughout the week. You know, once he get outside the pocket, he's the best in the league once he gets outside the pocket. So we coached it, you know, the plaster, once he get outside the pocket, turn and look for a guy, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, we didn't do that the first half, and I think that's what hurt us.
And you're not the first team that hasn't been able to do that against him, as you well know.
Yes, sir.
And it'll probably happen again, but this team hopes to see him again. Joe, we appreciate the time.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Joe.
Much. There's Joe Thomas. Lindsay, back to you.
Thank you, Brad. Enjoy your night. Nate Newton and I are taking our final break, and when we come back, we'll look ahead at the Cowboys, what they have in front of them before the bye week, and why Nate says the next two are must-wins.
Dallas Cowboys Game Night was presented by AT&T. More for your thing, that's our thing. Reliant, an NRG company. U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. Choose VA today. And by NFL Game Pass. You'll never miss a game again. Enjoy full access to coaches' film and game replays from Week 1 to the Super Bowl. Subscribe at DallasCowboys.com/Game Pass.
All right, the Cowboys are now 3-2. Here's what they have coming up for the rest of October. You got the Jets, who are winless. The Eagles is going to be huge, Nate, right before the bye week.
Right now, the Cowboys 2 weeks ago had a 2-game lead on Philadelphia. They've walked themselves back into the division and let Philly back into this situation. What we have to do now is not come out and have turnovers early. We cannot have needless penalties. And somehow, some way, the coaches got to get off to a fast start. I mean, when they call a play, players got to concentrate on those first 4 or 5 plays in the game plan and make sure they come out with at least 3 points. Somehow, some way, you got to start scoring in the first quarter. You got to pick that up the same way you do in the third quarter.
All right, you heard it from Nate Newton. I'm Lindsay Draper. We will see you guys back next week after the Cowboys take on the Jets and hope to move to 4-2 on the season. Enjoy your night.